Did that right there scare you? Well, if so, then you must be a Sonic fan. Sonic Forces is a game known to many as the most skilled, the best received, and in general just one of the best Sonic games ever made. But what if I were to tell you that Sonic Forces has actually caused the most drama and strenuous discussions in the Sonic community than any other game released, at least as of recent? But now you may be asking yourself, how is that even possible? In a series like Sonic with games like Sonic 06, Sonic Freeriders, etc. running amok, how did Sonic Forces, a relatively mediocre game across the board, cause this much drama? Well, today I'm here to answer that, and answering the question of how Sonic Forces ruined Sonic discussion as a whole. Leading up to the launch of Sonic Forces seemed very promising, as it seemed to be fixing a lot of the problems we had had with previous Sonic games. It wasn't glitchy like Rise of Lyric, it had a serious story unlike Lost World Colors and Generations, and in general it just seemed to be like the franchise was back, and at an all-time high. But beneath all that, there were some issues, as some people noticed that Forces looked pretty linear, and there weren't many alternate paths, and the gameplay just kinda looked boring. And then this led to a lot of arguments in the fanbase, where a lot of people were hyped for the game and defending it because it was a new thing, and others were criticizing it. And this led to the age-old Sonic debate of people being excited for the game and bashing people who are criticizing it, and people who are criticizing the game bashing on people who are excited for it. It's an endless cycle that never really stops, the cycle of toxic positivity and toxic negativity. As far as I can tell, the cycle was first happening with Sonic Forces, but has since happened with every single Sonic game. Well, at least after Forces, with Sonic Origins, Sonic Colors Ultimate, and now even Sonic Frontiers. This cycle is never ending. If you ask me, this is the real Sonic cycle. And what this ended up leading to was a lot of generalizing within the community. People who were excited for the game was labeled as bootlickers, and people who weren't excited for the game were labeled as people who didn't want Sonic to succeed whatsoever. And this led to an environment which really wasn't that fun to talk in, as people were just generalizing each side, and lumping them all together, making a civilized discussion almost impossible in some cases, especially over Twitter. And for certain, none of this was helped by the initial reveal for Frontiers looking like, well, this. And all that has led us to today, where this cycle keeps on going. As everything that Sonic Frontiers that gets revealed, there's a positive thing and there's a negative thing, and both sides keep on at it, keep arguing, and it just never stops. Now, as a disclaimer, I'm not actually generalizing the entire fanbase as part of this two-sided scenario. It's just a few of the people in the fanbase that are doing this right now, not everyone. Another huge issue that Sonic Forces brought to Sonic discussions is the statement that Sonic fans are better than the officials at Sonic Team at making Sonic games. Now, this was due to the other main release of 2017, Sonic Mania, being a fan-developed game. Well, not exactly a fan-developed game, because it was actually developed by professionals who just happen to be Sonic fans. And honestly, at this point, I can't really tell the difference. Sonic Team members are usually also Sonic fans, just with professional game development experience. So I really find this point to be quite hypocritical. But alas, in this community, anything goes, and people are constantly using this point to bash Sonic Team, and using it as an opportunity to put down any official product that releases. And again, just want to clarify, this isn't every Sonic fan doing this, but there are countless examples that I've seen. For instance, this is where the stupidest Sonic debate ever comes in, the Sonic model debate. Now, I don't know if this is true for everyone, and it most definitely probably isn't, but a lot of people were saying that because Sonic's model in Sonic Frontiers was the Forces model, that the game was going to be bad. And now this point is just like, completely bullshit. Like, it's literally just Sonic's model, it doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of the game. But because it was from Sonic Forces, a lot of people took that and put the game in a negative light. And again, the initial reveal trailer definitely did not help things. And this is why a game like Sonic Omens really didn't work for me. There's a lot of sections there that just didn't work because they gave the player control over it. But in reality, these sections should have been automated. But because automation was the main thing in why Forces level design was bad, a lot of people have taken automation in any Sonic game and pointed it out as the worst thing in the world. But in reality, automation can actually be really helpful, and a nice showcase of the game's graphical capabilities. But now the question is, how did Sonic Forces lead to the Sonic Frontiers Defense Squad as it's known? Well, I believe it's because Sonic Forces led to so much negativity that all the people growing up around Sonic were just tired of it and thought they had to defend this franchise with everything they had. That is just a personal theory, don't act like this is completely true or anything, but I do think that because of all the hate for Sonic Forces, a lot of people thought, yeah, I'm gonna defend Sonic, and that led to the Sonic Frontiers Defense Squad that's willing to excuse a lot of stuff today. Now personally, I think the talk of the Sonic Frontiers Defense Squad is very over-exaggerated, but I can definitely see that it is actually there. And this has led to even more arguments with people who are pessimistic about Sonic, calling out the people who are excited for the game as a defense squad willing to excuse anything about it. And this has led to an even more unfortunate condition for having actual reasonable discussions. Hopefully by now I've convinced you that Sonic Forces has led to a lot of the stuff going on with the Sonic community right now, from the defense squad to the negativity to all the arguments, and to even the toxicity surrounding the fanbase. So I just wanted to say as well that toxic positivity is not the only problem going on right now. There's a lot of toxic negativity as well. In general, toxicity is the real biggest problem with the fanbase right now. People are just too comfortable generalizing and shutting other people down without hearing them out. And honestly, I do think this should stop. This really doesn't paint a healthy environment, and it could be why the Sonic fanbase is known for, well, not the greatest things in the world. In general, Sonic Forces has led to the community becoming very hostile. And again, I do want to clarify, I'm not speaking for everyone, I'm speaking about just a few of the things that I've observed being in the community. So that's really all I have to say on why Sonic Forces ruined Sonic discussion in the modern day. Hopefully by now it's clear how this really overall okay game ruined Sonic discussion more than games like Sonic 06 and Sonic Freeriders. Because it really was the perfect storm at its time. People had been waiting a long time for a good Sonic game, Sonic Forces disappointed, and in general just felt like a drag because a lot of the issues have been stuff the series have been suffering from for a long time now. And it's led to this really hostile environment nowadays. But after this, I hope that if you're doing this, I hope that you can just stop and hear other people out for a change. You know, let's make this community a bit nicer. And with that, that's it for me, Davron, signing off.